Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got some breaking news coming out here for you. We're going to be talking about the International Criminal Court, also known as the ICC, but we are not going to be talking about them regarding Israel today, which we were talking a lot about that recently, the Israeli government, where they could potentially be arrested by the ICC. Well, now we've got reports that the ICC has actually issued some arrest warrants for two top Russian defense officials. One of them being Sergei Shoigu, the gentleman on the right side of your screen. I've talked a lot about him before in the past. He's actually Russia's former defense minister, and he's wanted right now for war crimes in the war in Ukraine. And also the gentleman on the left side of your screen, Valery Gerasimov. Okay, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his last name, but I think it's Gerasimov. He is also wanted for war crimes. So some of the things they're being accused of here in Ukraine is crimes against humanity, directing attacks at civilian objects, and causing excessive incidental harm to civilians or damage to civilian objects. Now, what have they targeted here? What has Russia targeted in Ukraine? Well, their electric grid. Okay, their electric grid has been hammered like crazy. We've had reports from Vladimir Zelensky that 50% of the power in Ukraine is gone, if not more. Also, companies like D-Tech, I've talked a lot about them in Ukraine. They've come out and reported many times that 80% of their infrastructure for their energy grid is destroyed as well. That's a major energy company in Ukraine reporting that. So their energy sector is completely demolished, okay? And then what have we seen in Ukraine? We've seen, dozens of towns just completely leveled to the ground. Let's talk about Vovchansk for a minute, okay? Whenever the Russians attacked the Kharkiv region, Vovchansk was one of the bigger towns near the border of Russia that had to be evacuated. Roughly around 17,000 people live there. That whole town, is completely leveled to the ground as well. I've shown you guys pictures and video footage and all kinds of things going on over there. That town is just completely gone. Okay, the people will most likely never be able to come back there until they rebuild that place, if they ever choose to again. So. We've seen countless attacks from the Russians as well, where they have struck lots of civilian targets, and I've been talking about this a lot too. In many of my videos I've put out, I would state that what's the objective here? What it obviously was a civilian target, and I'm not saying that Ukraine has never done that, but we have seen this a lot from the Russians. So I could say for sure that based on the reporting that I've done, there's lots of civilian targets that have been hit. But according to the ICC, they're claiming here that these are crimes against humanity and causing excessive incidental harm to civilians or damage to civilian objects. Okay, so these two are wanted. Okay, we've got Sergei Shoigu, the former defense minister, and then the chief of general staff, Valery Gerasimov. Okay, so we're going to talk some more about them today. I want to give you some more information regarding these ICC arrest warrants. Will these actually do anything? Most likely not, as long as these officials probably, if they don't leave Russia, which they probably don't intend to, then it probably will not really affect them, kind of similar to Vladimir Putin, okay? If Putin will just not visit countries that recognize the ICC, that way he can't be arrested, which is why he's had an arrest warrant from the ICC on him since, I think it was March of last year, 2023. So let's talk about this some more on the BBC. War crimes arrest warrants issued for top Russian officials. This just coming out today. The International Criminal Court, ICC, has issued an arrest warrant for Russia's former defense minister Sergei Shoigu and the chief of general staff Valery Gerasimov. The ICC judges said the two men were suspected of committing war crimes and crimes against humanity during the war in Ukraine. The court said that there were grounds to believe that Mr. Shoigu and Mr. Gerasimov bore individual criminal responsibility for attacks on civilian targets between October 2022 and March 2023. There are reasonable grounds to believe that the two suspects bear responsibility for missile strikes against the Ukrainian electric infrastructure, the ICC said in its indictment. So look at that's a big part of this, okay? We've been reporting this many different times. This happened even just from March of this year up until now. There's been at least 8, maybe close to 10 attacks on Ukraine's electric infrastructure, okay? Many of their electrical facilities are damaged, if not destroyed. They're having rolling blackouts happening throughout the entire country, or at least in a lot of major areas like the Kharkiv area, Odessa. I've seen a lot. Odessa's having a lot of rolling blackouts. So the people of Ukraine are definitely affected by this, and I've always wondered too, what is the exact military advantage by striking the electric grid, other than to basically kind of force Ukraine to collapse in a way. If they don't have electricity for their country, then they're going to have big problems, right? So that could be the only explanation that I could think of why they'd go after the electric grid. And according to the ICC, they're saying that they bear responsibility for these strikes against their electric grid. So the court said the civilian damage from the alleged strikes would have been clearly excessive to any military advantage gained by Russia. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said the ICC's decision was a clear indication that justice for Russian crimes against Ukrainians is inevitable. Every criminal involved in the planning and execution of these strikes must know that justice will be served, and we do hope to see them behind bars. Russia's Security Council said the ICC's arrest warrant against Mr. Shoigu was insignificant and part of a hybrid war against Moscow. So basically dismissing the ICC arrest warrant is what Russia's Security Council did. Mr. Shoigu, a long-standing ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin, was removed as defense minister last month, a post he had held since 2012. He is now secretary of the Security Council. So we did talk about that. Yes, he's no longer the defense minister. He got replaced by, I think his name was Andrei Belousov. He's a economist, actually, that replaced him. He actually has very little military experience, but he's taking over as defense minister now, possibly pointing to the fact that Russia's expecting to fight this war for a long time, and they need somebody that can manage their economy more versus this war is kind of what we're seeing from that. But this is obviously big news here. We'll have to see what comes from this. There's more information here if you guys want to read about Vladimir Putin and his ICC arrest warrants. There's more information on here. I'll cite it down below for you guys. But yeah, again, just to kind of wrap this up, Sergei Shoigu, the former defense minister, along with Valery Gerasimov, the chief of general staff, okay, both of these two defense officials of Russia wanted by the ICC for crimes against humanity and war crimes in general throughout Ukraine, okay? And again, we've talked about this many times, just lots of cities being leveled to the ground in Ukraine, lots of civilians being killed as well in this conflict, which, whenever there's war and conflict, that's always a given, unfortunately. It shouldn't be that way, but unfortunately, we've had a lot of innocent people killed in these conflicts. There was just strikes in Kharkiv just the other day. I'm not sure exactly what the Russians were targeting, but they targeted basically in the middle of Kharkiv, and there was a building there that was struck. Two buildings, actually. I showed you guys video footage on that just a few days ago. And we had somewhere like 5 or 10 people, I think, that were killed and dozens more that were injured. So, again, these were, from what I saw, these were civilian strikes on civilian infrastructure, okay, not so much military. And again, we've seen this many, many times. So I see where the ICC is coming from here. But, I'll leave it up for you guys to decide. Do you guys think that this International Criminal Court arrest warrants should stand, or do you think that this shouldn't be a thing? But clearly the ICC wants them arrested for war crimes here in the Ukraine war. So let me know what you think down below. That's going to be it for this update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope y'all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.